How's it going? Day 3 of the conference. You guys doing good? All right. The coffee's still kicking in. It's all right. All right. So I'm gonna actually come over here. So I'm really fortunate to be here. Thank you so much to MARsum. Thanks to Prism Events. I'm really just thankful to be in Vegas. First time in Vegas, which is awesome. And I wanted to shed some light on something called the elevation of e-commerce and future of online shopping. And it's really cool because we've heard a lot of stunning presentations and great for all the awardees and the presenters talking about like AI, influencers, social media. What I want to go into is where e-commerce is going 5, 10, 15 years from now. So it's kind of more towards the future, looking towards the future and thinking about the strategies, the technology, the trends that are going to take us there. So without further ado, just go to this. Oh, do we have the presentation? Let's see. There we go. Go back. There's a slide. Oh, I guess it's missing a slide. Sorry. So I guess to introduce myself, my name is Ladigoski. I'm 26 years old, multimedia entrepreneur. Actually, my birthday is in less than 24 hours, which is really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you. Appreciate that. And so I've been I work with several companies, or own several companies, and they're pretty much between digital marketing and going, as well as a film production company. So a little bit about my background, just to kind of get some key fun facts in. Oh, where am I doing? Slider thing's clicking. So I co-founded my first agency when I was 22 years old. I've actually worked in some pretty prestigious companies like NBC, HBO, working to really consult them on like the new digital frontiers and like moving forward in their industries. Even worked with a public Canadian company to help them get them from the Canada market into the US market. Even from my production company, helped produce a short that got into Tribeca Film Festival this year, which is awesome. And overall, just from the marketing space, helped create $300 million of online sales for products and services. And if you wanted more fun facts, my favorite spirit animal is a penguin. So if you guys like penguins, talk to me afterward. So that's good. But anyway, back to e-commerce. So we know the trends are ever changing, but it's really, I want to take this moment to talk about how they're like really changing, like see it actually statistically, knowing that like e-commerce is here to stay for the long run. So right now, just in like 2021 alone, we're looking at $4.9 trillion just towards e-commerce. This is around like Amazon, Macy's, Bloomingdale's, like people moving into that space. Mom and pop little boutique companies that are going and sprouting up on Shopify. This is coming ever so fastly. And even like stuff where you could see in 2023, they're predicting about $6.5 trillion in the e-commerce industry. And this trend has been happening even since 2010. I'm just showing the last like 5 or 6 years. So we know it's here to stay. And what's really unique is, I mean, we're here at MARsum. We're here because there's fashion, there's retail, and there's e-commerce, and people I know have like digital agencies around here, and they're working with clients in this space. And I think this is really fascinating data because we look here, and retail still prevails. It really does. And retail's always finding new innovative ways. And e-commerce is coming right up in the same trend as well. And just like I was showing before, 2021 is about like 4.4 trillion, and we're seeing the rise in increment. However, we notice that the change year to year is really favoring e-commerce. And especially with 2020, and we had the pandemic and everything, we noticed that there was a 9.2% drop-off of retail because everyone was shopping from home. So that's definitely something significant. And then you realize that, this trend still, even though the pandemic's kind of like shifting and everything, this trend is still favoring online and is still favoring being at home, being able to shop. To actually put it to one single number, 8.69x or 869% change over retail. So it's something to very much pay attention to. So as marketers, we're here at MARsum, like I said, we're always asking the big question, how do you get more online sales? So pretty much in the past decades, we've always been seeing like entire shifts in like the way we shop. We do, where there's Instagram. I think TikTok's now kind of getting more into that space as well, being able to, work with Google Shopping, Facebook, Instagram, wherever it may be. And more channels are coming up to favor the online shopping experience to make the experience closer to users. So, like I said, I know there was actually even a couple keynotes specifically on e-commerce, but I want to talk about kind of where things are going from here. The future. Where does the future hold? So it comes down to strategy, growth, and trends that what do we take advantage of? And that's the big question here. So to kind of like continue on some of the more statistics, if I didn't convince you guys enough that e-commerce is really the future, we said it to 3 words: direct to consumer. 57% increase in social media between the ages of 18 to 49, 40% increase in online content from like Netflix, Prime, Hulu, YouTube, and Twitch, and then 37% increase in online through Amazon and other e-commerce stores. And this, like I said, this trend even continued with the pandemic, is still happening as like we're kind of slowing down the pandemic, and it's just here to stay. So anyway, I come back to this. How do we take advantage of it? And I said before, new tools and new tech. And so I'm going to show a couple of them to you today. So one thing which I think will be really advantageous, I'm going to kind of start the shift of gear into something I like to call CRO, which is conversion rate optimization. Now, the science behind CRO, and I know someone actually did a panel on this when they were up here, about being able to use deep data to understand your online presence. And it's fascinating because you can always optimize like your Facebook ads, you can optimize like what you're bringing in traffic-wise, but at the same time, you have to make sure that your house, your online home, is all neat and tidy, and that you're getting the best from your website possible so that you know that the user is getting the most bang for their buck, and same with you as an owner of the store. So this is something I do with one of my companies, and I think it's fascinating. So what's cool is if you have clients who are e-commerce owners or you have an e-commerce store yourself, this is going to be a really cool tactic that even you can use for free and you can implement pretty much today, and I could teach you after too if you want, so come up to me afterward. So what is CRO? Basically a system for increasing the percentage of website visitors that convert to customers. So basically it's just the science of deep analysis and deep data of user behavior, pretty much to the most micro level, to the most finite level. And when we use this data, the way you use it, is you have to isolate and create a series of tests that increase the chance of a customer purchasing. So I'll put it to numbers. Let's say, hypothetically, we have, let's say this is like a monthly ad budget, like really basic store, $1,000 spent on Facebook. Let's say I'm selling a $50 product, could be pretty much anything. Based on like a $5 CPM through like, let's say Facebook ads, you get about 200,000 impressions just from that. You'll get a CTR, CPC. Most of you guys are pretty familiar with this. You'll get X web visitors, purchase revenue. I'll give a little hypothetical here. So average like CTR is kind of like, you know, pretty decent campaign. You have good creative. You're working at like 1%, let's say 50 cents CPC. It gives you about like 2,000 website visitors. And let's say hypothetically your website is built on Shopify and you get 40 purchases. That's pretty good. That will bring you about $2,000 of revenue. And that conversion rate comes out, because you're kind of taking the percent of purchases versus revenue, to 2%. We're going to keep that number in mind as we go along. So going back to the science of how things work, so to increase your conversion rate through split testing, you're basically sending people the same traffic. Let's say we have those, what did I say before? It was 2,000 website visitors, right? Let's keep that number in mind. We're sending 2,000 people and splitting them into 1,000 and 1,000. So it's 50% of traffic going to one segment and another. To explain what a segment is, it's like one little minute test that you could do on your website. So if you're switching a product image, let's say you're testing the product page. You could switch the product image and try like a different angle of like a shirt you're trying to sell. Or it could be something with the product image, the product title. It could be something where like your reviews are placed, how your add to cart button looks, a button color change, like even simple things, they help to clean up the website. But it's not just like things where you're second guessing like, oh, like I think this is gonna work. You're actually using data to tell you if it's gonna work or not. So like there's pretty much a proven guarantee of like, hey, this is a winner, this is a loser. So go back to the 2,000 visitors. I could send 1,000 to segment A. Let's say I'm switching the image, kind of like this graph here from InvestP, right? And segment B is a different image, but I realize that when I sent those 1,000 people here and these 1,000 people there, segment B won. And people, let's say the goal was just to add to cart. You're on a product page and you're adding to cart. And the whole idea is that the user kind of felt, a little bit more compelled to want to go and add that to cart. So that's clearly what I'm trying to track here. So 60%, what I do is I find the winner, tell my developer, they have a developer themselves, they implement it on the live website, you run a split test, and now it's there for the website for good, and then 100% of the people go there in hopes to increase your revenue. No, there we go. So the process is as follows. So I kind of gave the process, but to kind of give it in a nutshell, if anyone wants to screenshot this, it's pretty cool. You start a split test by isolating a part of the website. You can change just one. It's like a controlled chemistry experiment. You can't do multiple changes. You have to do one on each page. So if you're doing a homepage test, you can only do one test on a homepage. If you're doing a product page test, only one. And you can do this and capture data, split the traffic between 50 and 50%, which, by the way, to kind of explain how we do this, just using Google tools is a very simple way. Now, we use some pretty advanced analytics stuff at our company, but this is something that you could pretty much set up. There's a couple of little pixel installations that, again, I'm happy to teach anyone who is very curious about setting this up on their website for the clients or for themselves. Using the three tools, they all kind of talk hand in hand: Google Analytics, Tag Manager, and Google Optimize. They're all free to use, which is cool. And so you could basically, with Optimize, set up these split tests, and you have segment A and segment B. It all masks to the same URL, by the way. So they're going to the same page, but Google just has this cool way on the front end to make a mask layer, which is really awesome. And then from 3, you analyze your results, finding winning split tests. Usually it's recommended to do a split test over a week or 2. This really depends on the traffic coming to the site. Some of the clients I work with, they have maybe 500 visitors a day, but sometimes they have 10,000 visitors a day. The more users, the better results of the split test. It's just showing that hey, this survey, this was taken by a survey of 10,000 people versus 1,000. Which one do you trust more? That's kind of the way you think about it. And then you implement with your developer and then move into the next one. And you keep doing this process over and over again. And so you're really, like I said, cleaning up the website. And you're not changing the ad spend. That's the beautiful thing. You don't have to increase your marketing budget to do something like this. And I think it's fascinating because some things like this, they're just starting to come on the horizon. Google Optimize is a fairly new tool that they're just trying to iterate and change a lot. So that's why I say this is going to be a very useful thing for e-commerce. So all the more why I'm telling you guys about it. So actually, some practical examples. This is a public Canadian company, very good butchers that I was working with, or we currently still work with them. And they showed me this homepage, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, what's one thing I want to change on the homepage? Well, it's a little hard to see the button, to be honest. It kind of blends in with the backgrounds, stuff like that. And you might see it, Shopify, they have templates and everything, and sometimes maybe you have a premium theme or something, and that's good. You can change these things, like I said, with your developer, or maybe something on the back end. But decided to switch it to green. Why not? Give it a test. But you know what? The data shows it. So even originally they had a conversion rate. The conversion rate specifically, the goal was to get people from the homepage to the product page. So we're considering every part of the funnel. So and this is just step 1 to get from home, product, cart, checkout, everything. They were originally converting it at 2.10. Now with the green button, we even tried yellow as well. You see 3 split tests. Green came in as a winner at 2.15. Now it seems okay, it's a 0.05 increase. Great. It seems small, but keep in mind, this company does hundreds of thousands in revenue per month. That makes a difference. Especially if you're considering and optimizing in every single part of the funnel. For big companies, that makes a huge difference. Another company that we work with, they did at-home COVID tests, really cool. During the pandemic, they were kind of sending people boxes to their house. Really excited to work with them. We noticed that with several split tests, one thing you can implement on your store is we actually found a lot of winning split tests by putting a homepage banner right at the top of the page, right below the menu navigation. We actually noticed that having a call to action like that was pretty unique for the conversion rate. When they originally did not have one at 1.89, now they're at 2.36, just for getting people into that product page, like the at-home COVID tests, and that's great because they're bringing traffic in. That just means more people are seeing it. And we run this test over like a week or two. We noticed that it's about 50-50. It's like 1,800, 1,700 people came in over the course of the week, and we found the winner. So a little bit of interaction from the audience, but since I kind of told you about the split test, so this is like a standard product page. It's one of our clients as well. Usually you don't see it on the screen, but there's like an image to the left, and like you see the product title, description. So kind of just shout it out. What's like one thing you think you would want to test on a product page like this? You can like raise your hand if you want. Like, anyone? If not, I'll just give it away. It's fine. No? All right. I'll give it to you. So we actually did 4 tests on this single page, which helped tremendously with their sales in this product. We actually changed the review. I'll go from top to bottom. The reviews used to be black stars, and now they're yellow. That actually makes a difference, apparently. When someone sees yellow stars over black stars, we notice that the conversion rate incremented ever so slightly in the up direction. The price is bolded and green, and with the slash into the like the retail price, and like you're trying to like make a sale, like discount. And we notice that like having that differentiation in font and boldness and color helps that as well. We also noticed that putting something below the add to cart, like a Google Trust Score, like kind of like payment methods, also helps as well. Sometimes in Shopify templates and like other stores, they kind of put this more towards the bottom of the page. And like usually there'd be like kind of description stuff, like maybe like shipping stuff, return things, whatever it may be. And we noticed that putting it closer to add to cart brought more trust to the customer, or brought more trust to the user, that they just figured that they should add it to cart. This is interesting too. So like, do you have a question? Yeah, sure.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. For questions, can we please have you go to the mic right there in the middle and stand up, because we want to get you on the stream. We want everybody to hear your fantastic question. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you.
I am not promising fantastic.
That's all right. Hi.
I'm just curious on the make your selection. Did you guys test that? Like, did you test that button at all?
We did. We changed the color as well as the text. And we realized that for some reason for this store, we've seen like kind of a toss, but specifically for this store, make your selection was actually better than just an add to cart text. Even
or order now? Like, did it?
I think we did like 2 or 3, but I think we just, well, that's the cool thing. Like, we start with make your selection, then we can try that as like the next test,
right,
and see like what that brings us back data-wise.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's cool. It's beautiful because you could keep testing. There's no limit to the test you can do, but like the idea is like your websites are ever evolving, ever changing. So like that's kind of the process behind something like this. Like, and it's just to get that conversion rate number up. It's just like that's the one goal. To really increase the revenue, just like internally for like an e-commerce store. I go to Shopify. So if you have clients, again, who do e-commerce, this is a standard Shopify checkout. It's interesting. I mean, they kind of have this pretty standard checkout. This is where you pay the money, so like all this stuff. But I bet a lot of people know that there's like this section on the right side that's there's nothing there. It's like very empty, dead space. Well, we tried something here where we actually added customer reviews for the product they were checking out, and we actually programmed this with our development team. And then we actually put a little bit of kind of more like assurance about like, you have a safe checkout process, stuff about like assured shipping and stuff. So like there's just a little bit of trust there, but hey, guess what? It helps from the checkout process. Now, this is a pretty high number because most people who go to checkout, they're purchasing. So, but 32.58 to 34.57, I'll take it. It always helps, and it's definitely especially useful here because, like I said, this is kind of the final step of any e-commerce store. So taking the numbers we had before, let's say I did a little bit of CRO testing and CRO splitting. Now let's say I brought the conversion rate up. You're kind of taking all those increments and you're adding them together. And now let's say I'm at 2.4. Now I'm at $2,400 of revenue, which is really cool. Same ad spend, same product, same click-through rates, same everything. And just with stuff that you could use with Google, you can just increase the revenue from your website just from simple split testing. And I've done this in several cases, so I think it's kind of exciting to show, like, hey, like here's the change over time. You can track this in like Google. I won't go through all these in like crazy detail, but basically, this is actually a cool one. So we work with a Chinese company, and you could start with somewhere like 0.46 to now 1.14 conversion rate. It's 36 million Hong Kong dollars. And like even the simplest things, they didn't change their ad spend, they didn't change anything like this, but when you're talking about big traffic and big revenue coming in, those little increments make a massive difference. So they pretty much like doubled their money. And over the course of, I think this was 3 or 4 months, if I'm correct. These are little Shopify dashboards. They actually give you the conversion rate on the Shopify dashboard, and you can always like track this number, but it's just exciting to see is because like taking this over 2 months, you see like, all right, we're changing, incrementing 43%, 73%, 106%, that's doubling. Where they used to convert 20 sessions, which means they purchased 20 times, same website, same everything, split test it, now they're converting 40 of them. That's pretty cool. And it's cool because like the Canadian company, you switch the buttons, going back to that Very Good Butchers thing. Over the course of actually 3 months, pretty much doubled theirs as well, and this is monthly revenue. So anyway, without showing the crazy case studies, but I think you guys get the point that like CRO is like a really cool tactic. And the reason I say it here is because it's not really talked about as much. Like I said, I was very fortunate. I met someone here who, we had a great conversation about like split testing and stuff, and I'm like, you know what, he gets it. It's something that I think is kind of a rising service, especially for agencies. It's something that really should be implemented for e-commerce because there's a lot of value behind it. So that's pretty much the CRO side. So now, I'm going to switch gears a little bit, kind of for the second half of the presentation. And it's actually unique because it's very relevant to this topic about e-commerce. And it's like, where is e-commerce going? Like, how do we get the user closer to a personalized shopping experience? Again, as a marketer, I'm thinking about like conversion rate, money, revenue, things like that. But I'm also thinking just like, what's unique, what's happening? And we heard a lot of interesting topics about AI and like things that are talking about recommendation engines and like all these things. And one thing I'm actually going to bring up is augmented reality, which I think when I was talking to some people here, like some kind of understand that augmented reality is kind of starting to play not just like a trend in like social media and like putting dog ears on like your cousin or something like that. It's actually something you can use in a revenue source. What's unique is actually, it's funny, this presentation or this slot was going to be originally like a VC pitching thing, and then it kind of like switched in the agenda. So it's actually a project I'm personally working on. I think I told some people about this. And I think it's really relevant to bring users closer. So you kind of morph stuff with augmented reality, and in this case, fashion, and I like to call it something called Quick Fit, which is awesome. So to kind of show you that e-commerce can move forward, you can use new tech and new trends to make that possible. So Quick Fit, in a nutshell, is a kind of way that you can have a resource that becomes your personalized styling tool. And it's similar to looking into like a virtual mirror and trying on clothes. The idea is you can have applications and have certain things, and I'm really happy to be part of a project like this because I know I can move e-commerce forward, and like from all the feedback we've gotten, it's really exciting. It uses a combination of augmented reality, artificial intelligence to optimize the shopping experience. So obviously I'm going to explain like how this works. And I'm excited to see future trends like with new technologies coming up, like the way that we can like interact with customers on a whole new level. And of course, looking back at the statistics, just keeping up with online shopping, keeping on with the trends. So cool thing about something like Quick Fit and the technology impact, augmented reality can be used to merge some of the things that you love with something that's a little bit more personal to you. So I'll kind of explain the process of how this goes. We're actually kind of morphing a digital avatar of yourself that you get to create, kind of like a gaming avatar. You get to do it inside the app and look at your favorite e-commerce stores, stuff like around like Amazon, Macy's, Guess, like kind of pulls and scrapes that data, and now gets to create a styling experience for you that's personal specifically to you. And it's just like going into a fitting room, but now we're just taking it on an iPhone or an Android, and you get to create a shopping experience that way. Artificial intelligence also plays a role because we're learning, and we need to learn what the user likes to shop for. And online and e-commerce, like we're always, like Facebook is always doing this with like interest categories and like the way that you want to, run ads or something like that. They give you several categories. We're hoping that we hit them with an ad and that they're going to come through. But when it's very personalized and you're sitting there and like the AI recommends products to you because you told it like, hey, you know what? I'm into athletic clothing, I'm into goth, I'm into formal wear, like whatever it may be, then it's possible. And it gets you closer to that, and it's something that people would use and love. And you combine these two technologies, like I said, to get the user closer to an experience that's just more personalized. So, something like a process like this goes as follows. Start with a styling quiz. It's basically like an in-depth way to kind of get a user profile of yourself. It will capture the back-end data. And what I mean by that is it's starting to understand like specific things, favorite stores that you like to shop at, favorite outfits, styles that you like to wear. And we're basically capturing this data when they start to make a profile for the first time. And like, it's all accounted by here, and the AI technology will learn from it and constantly be able to recommend clothes, not just from like one brand. It's not like going into Forever 21 and you're stuck with like that brand, and then you have to go walk to the next store. You go take a top from Forever 21, and then like Macy's is recommending a pair of bottoms, and you can start mixing and matching. It's kind of like this whole fitting experience. You do that with like building an avatar, and like I said, the fitting experience kind of like morphs into here. So I sit in here, and why not make something specific to yourself? When you make like a gaming avatar similar to this, you're doing stuff with like the height, the weight, like skin tone, things like that are really unique to you. And you can go log in this app every day, and hopefully, and you get to be able to see like yourself in the virtual mirror and be able to shop like that. And just like standard e-commerce, once you like did the styling quiz and the avatar, you come into like a standard store, but it's not just like going to Amazon and starting to like type up your favorite products. It's gonna recommend stuff right out the gate. And let's say it's like this shirt, for example. I like t-shirts, pretty cool. But the beauty of it is with augmented reality, I'm not just seeing the shirt, add in a cart, and I'm getting it shipped in a box. Why not preview it first? And that's a big thing. So that's unique, and I can match for shirts, pants, shoes. I get like a nice watch or something, a nice hat, a tie, accessories, whatever it may be, and get to see it. Because I've also heard a lot of feedback too. I know women like to shop, which is awesome, and they can buy something from Amazon or wherever it may be. They try it on, they're getting feedback, and then they realize, you know what, I'm not feeling it, it doesn't fit with my wardrobe, I need to return it. So that's an interesting thing that this can help with. And just like any e-commerce store, you're not just buying the one shirt and going out, you're buying the fit, which is cool. So just like standard e-commerce, you process, and then it ships right to you. So it's really cool. Like I said, it's bringing it closer. It kind of feels like more for your experience, and like it's just recommending things for you, and like I said, bringing it closer to the user. So I had a little bit of fun with it myself. I'm like, all right, I'm doing a presentation in a Keynote, so I'm like, I'm gonna buy the fit. I made my own little avatar here. Kind of looks like me, right? Like you see the face, like all that stuff. It's pretty fun. But I found this nice suit on Macy's. Is anyone realizing it? Yeah, like, so, I mean, yeah, I bought the fit. So like, hope you guys like the suit. But I was really happy with this. And, thank you. Yeah, so I really, I fell in love with it, wore the fit, bought the fit, and here I am. So thank you. So I think it's really fascinating that you could do this for like all types of outfits, all types of styles. And one thing that I think is really relevant to know about like statistics for this, again, thinking about trends, average conversion rate of a customer who bought an item after visiting the fitting room was 67%. I mean, that's pretty realistic because you're going in, let's say when I got the suit, or let's say I'm getting like some beach wear because, it's hot in Vegas. Like I needed to wear something nice, but also not get sunburned or, too hot. I'm going in a fitting room, I'm trying this on, and realistically, it's like, all right, maybe 1/3 of the time you're not buying something, but 2/3 of the time you are. You're going right to the cash register, you're putting down the card, whatever it may be. And I sit there and I'm just like, if that's the case, and now you're moving this experience online, you can imagine there's a lot of potential. So, what's also interesting, it solves a couple issues too, because like I was mentioning before, it's less returns. Like, so if you buy something, it's not fitting with your wardrobe, you're shipping it back, it's time, it's labor, it's like green and, like eco-friendly. We're trying to like make it like a little bit more seamless and a little bit more, like I said, better for many industries in that case. Like I said before about the whole 21 Forever, or Forever 21 thing, is that you're not just isolated to one brand and then you go walk to the next store, it basically gives you like the idea to integrate, like the beauty of it too is like it integrates like from something as big as like a Macy's to like a mom and pop boutique, which is cool. It gives people equal chance at presenting their outfit. And it just saves you time too. You're on your phone, you're on the go, everyone's getting busier. So like, why not save some time? I mean, unless you want to do a shopping date, that's great, but at the same time, that's not always the case. So that's pretty much what it is. And oh, actually forgot to mention too, sorry, I'll just go back like one more, I forgot one part. What's brilliant with AR technology, thank you. What's brilliant with AR technology is that in phase 2, the idea is, and that's currently a work in progress, to actually augment your current wardrobe. It's one thing where I could pull stuff from other current websites and online shopping, but if you could go into your wardrobe, like put like a pair of pants on the bed and like take a picture of it, and now it's just using augmented reality to put it inside your avatar, so now you can match your favorite pants with a shirt you found online. That's where this is going. This is, like I said, bringing it closer to a personal experience that people get to share and love. And now, I'll go to the Q&A. So I would say keep the slide up, but if anyone wants to connect with me, I'm more than happy to. I love meeting new people. So this is my contact information. If not, you could come up to me, it'd be great. Also, I will mention too, there was another slide that's not here. You could also follow QuickFit on the journey. It's actually currently in beta for a couple months, but it's been testing really well, which is really cool. And I'm just excited to like bring this in. And now I will go to, it's not going back, hold on. Oh, one more. Yep, there, all right, well, I'll leave it at that. Does anyone have any questions? No? Like one question? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, darling. Can I have you go right up to the microphone?
Sorry.
Thank you. I know, you got to get up out of your chair. So
That's
sorry.
All right, thank you. Yeah, no worries. By the way, I was going to say the slide was not up here, but if you did want to follow along, it's quickfitapp.com. So it's QUIKFITAPP.com, and like when we're ready for launch, like you could sign up for like the newsletter and stuff and all that. So, what were you saying? Yeah, go ahead. On like a product page, so to speak, like if I put a video in like the descriptions and stuff? So it's interesting because, keep in mind, this is on the website, not like a Facebook ad, because like you could split test and like try creative iterations there. But on a website, it really depends on the industry because, for example, we work with this company that does like ski racks and everything, and we realized that video works very well to kind of show the rack on a car, like kind of like moving through. We did a whole thing like that, but video didn't work as well in like fashion trends, for example. Like specifically, we're talking about like split testing like on a page. So I think that's very industry specific. For example, with Very Good Butchers, we realized that photo actually did work better than video. People just wanted to kind of see like the plant, they do like plant-based meats and everything. So they just want to kind of see the products just like in a still matter. But yeah, usually video to photo is something I always test, but it kind of varies, unfortunately. So, but it's a very good question though, so. Any other questions? Oh, we got another one here. Awesome. Thank you guys for coming, by the way. This is great.
So you see the fit room performing pretty well. Those kinds of things, like see it in your room, try it on. What percentage of sales are affected by those, and do you see that increasing over time?
So specifically, just so I make sure I get it right, you're saying for people who use a fitting room currently, or? Yeah,
as a e-commerce tactic, those tactics, how effective are they overall? I mean, I see that if you get into the fitting room, it's 67% increase. But what about as a percentage of overall traffic? How many people actually use those, which I assume is
like who are using a current fitting room, or are you saying more for quick fit?
No, just the whole tactic of that kind of e-commerce tactic on a site versus a site that doesn't have it. How many people use it as a percentage of overall traffic? Now, I said once you use it, it works well. But I'm trying to say, what's the take rate, in other words?
I see what you're saying. I mean,
And is it increasing over time? That's what I'm looking for.
well, that's the idea. I mean, we're
Yeah.
talking, like we're talking about like a future trend. Realistically, that should be the idea that like as there's more traffic in the online space in general, that we realize that people are going to be utilizing like mobile applications. I don't have specific numbers, but like obviously over time, I feel like that would be the trend, and that's kind of like where we kind of see more of the future going. So
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to
Yeah.
calculate how popular is it now?
right. Well, I mean, I guess that's the idea. It's kind of like more about like what's upcoming, and I think over time we would find those numbers.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I think that's the beauty of it too, because sometimes it's current e-commerce stats, like the stuff with like CRO, and like you kind of iterate that more and more. That's one thing. But you're right. Stuff with like QuickFit, for example, like I said, over time, I have a feeling that like because as the increase of space, the increase of traffic's happening, that and obviously keep iterating on an app like this, we really just see a trend like overall where like people, I think, are just going to be more in a remote space. And like I said, they want to save time on their shopping experience. They want to have a more personalized shopping experience. They're not checking clearance racks and all these things. So that's where this really comes into play. So a lot of boxes check in like the green, if that makes sense. Thank you. No worries. Any other questions? A fun crowd. I love it. I think, is that it? Yeah, I think we're good. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.